When she's crying with snot bubbles and can barely breathe, that's not just drama. That's when everything changes. And if you fail this moment, you lose everything.
We're going live, baby.
We'll do it live.
You're listening to the premier podcast for men who want to not only be better with women, but want to be better men in general. This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host,
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer. He is a certified master life coach and NLP practitioner.
What's going on, guys? Happy Monday, gentlemen, and random lady or two that stumbled into the locker room. No, I'm not wearing the cowboy hat today, but don't worry, though. I'll bring it back. Sometimes a brother just likes to be able to lean back in his chair and rest his head on the headrest every once in a while. You know what I mean? Anyways, look, if you are new to the channel, my name is Paul Bauer, and I help men level up and get better with women. And the funny thing about that is that when we work on leveling up and getting better with women, it tends to make us better men in all areas of our lives. Now, did you know that most men think the big danger in their marriage is fighting, distance, or her losing interest? It's not. The real danger comes when she hits that one moment when she's sobbing uncontrollably, terrified, and overwhelmed because she's afraid of losing you. And here's the truth. Most men don't want to face. If you fail that moment, if you try to comfort her, if you try to fix things, if you show weakness or start begging for connection, she will replace you. Not immediately and not always dramatically, but inside her, the decision will be made. You failed the test, and someone else someday soon will be the man she submits to. Someone else will get the desire, the loyalty, and the passion that should have been yours. This episode is about that moment, how to prepare for it, how to lead through it, and how to make sure when the dust settles, you're not watching your wife submit to another man, because you are that man. But here's the thing. If you miss even one step, you'll blow it away. So stick with me until the final segment, because that's where I'll break down exactly how to pass the main event and make sure it's her crawling back to you, not running to someone else. Now, before we get into it, guys, do be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday without fail so far. If you guys are watching live right now, sound off in the chat. I want to hear from you, okay? If you guys have a question, I can actually bring it up on the screen. You can be a part of the show, all right? But if you do have a question, consider sending it as a super chat. One, that helps support the show more than anything else. And then two, it's actually highlighted and I can see it better when there's a sea of comments in the chat, all right? All right. Oh, you know what? Let's put this up here. Guys, I have a free ebook available if you didn't know about it. It's She's Made You Weak. It's all about the betatization process. You can get that in the description if you haven't read that already. But let's talk about laying out the problem, okay? You can't win if you're still playing her game. So the early relationship dynamic, right? Typically you have, you're kind of a happening guy. She's kind of into you in the beginning. That's sort of what this ebook's about. You're kind of a happening guy. She's into you. You guys have wild, toe curling, soul leaving your body segs all the time. And then slowly over time, you start becoming the nice guy, the provider. You start sacrificing yourself all the time. It's death by 1,000 concessions. All right. It's actually a 5-step process. We call it the betatization process. I talk about it pretty much every week, but this ebook breaks that down. But here's the thing. Wives, they start controlling you through these comfort tests and also these fitness tests, right? There's two distinct ways women test you. They are basically the same, just sort of differing in degree, right? And many men mistakenly think fixing or compromising or doing what she says is the solution, right? Because men are very sort of linear thinking. We're sort of very logical thinkers. What comes out of your mouth should be what you mean. But that women don't say what they mean, they say what they feel. It's totally different. It's very confusing for guys because we tend to say what we mean. So when a woman says she needs X, Y, and Z, and we're like, oh, okay, cool, no problem. She wants X, Y, and Z. Here's X, Y, and Z, babe. Now she's like, oh, but I didn't really want that. Ew, I can't believe you did that to me. That's why we don't listen to what women say. We watch what they do. And here's the thing. So there's this concept in the red pill space, especially the married red pill space, about the main event, right? If you read Ryan Stone's book on Dread, he talks about this thing called the main event. And that's what we're talking about today. The one conversation that will change your marriage. All right. Well, the main event, it's a big deal. Okay. It's a big deal. It's not a standard nag. It's not your typical fight, right? You might have lots of little squabbles. They're not main events. And one of the things that Ryan says is that if there's not snot bubbles coming out of her nose, it's not a main event. And he's like, if you think it's a main event, it probably wasn't, right? And if you're looking for a main event to happen, you're still operating under a covert contract, right? Because you are doing X in order to get a reaction out of her Y. Okay, that's covert contract type stuff. The whole purpose of following or doing Dread Game, right? Doing what I talk about in Get Her to F You Again. We're not at the 8-minute mark. What I talk about in Get Her to F You Again, what Ryan talks about in Dread, right? It's a whole process to get you back, right? It's for you. It's for you to level up. It's for you to get better. It's not about her, right? It's about you not letting yourself be taken for granted anymore. And so if all you're doing is all this stuff in order to get a reaction out of her, you're actually operating under a covert contract. So the same thing happens with this main event thing. Okay. The main event only happens when you become so solid, so attractive, and so out of her frame and operating in your frame that she now fears losing you. Right? You start pulling back so much. You start going to the gym more. You start working on your appearance more. You start going out more, being more social, having social circles again. You're a happening guy, and now her hamster wheel's going, right? Her hamster wheel's going, and she doesn't know what's going on, and she starts freaking out. This is where that competition anxiety really starts kicking in. And she just doesn't know how to release it. She can't control her emotions anymore. And then it just unleashes on you. Right? And it's more desperation than anger. All right. So women communicate covertly, right? They hope you just get it. They operate a lot with subtle hints and suggestions, and they just sort of hope that you sort of understand what they mean. Women are very indirect. Women are very mode 2. Okay. Sometimes mode 3. Paul, what's mode 1, mode 2, mode 3, mode 4? Well, we can get to that. That's another episode. That's an Alan Roger Curry thing. If you guys haven't read the book Mode 1, or the book series Mode 1 by Alan Roger Curry, I highly recommend it. I interviewed him a couple of years ago, like a couple of weeks before he passed away. I literally had the last interview with that man, but he was a genius. And he talks about the 4 modes of communication, and mode 2 and mode 3 are very indirect communication. Whereas mode 2 is more positive, though. You're really trying to build rapport with people and get people to like you. And mode 3 is very shady, backhanded, indirect type stuff. Right. Anyway, going off on a tangent here. So the thing is that when women are run out of options, they now are forced to talk like men. Now they're forced to be more direct, and you'll find that in a main event, right? She's not mad. This is a desperate wife. This is not a mad wife. This is a desperate wife. And if she's crying with snot bubbles, right? You now know you're in a main event. Okay. You're now there. Now, here's the thing. When this happens, men fall back on old programming and they end up blowing it. But before we get into that, guys, do be sure to follow me on social media. The links are in the description. I'm on all the good platforms. Guys, get the ebook, She's Made You Weak. It's free. The link's in the description for that if you haven't got it already. And it explains the betatization process and why attraction tends to erode over time. It's a 5-step process. And if you don't know what's happening, you'll fall victim to it, right? And women don't even know they're doing it to you half the time. All right. And then, guys, I have a book that talks about your marriage, getting out of a dead bedroom situation. It's called Get Her to F You Again. And I just spent all day yesterday formatting my new book that's coming out June 6th, Forget That Bitch, a red pill guide to breakups. If you go to my authors page now, if you go to books.comeonmanpod.com, that'll redirect to my authors page on Amazon. You can pre-order that on Kindle right now. But in the meantime, if you guys are trying to fix your marriage and turn things around, you're going to want Get Her to Fuck You Again. Okay. That's for guys who are in a long-term relationship where everything's gone downhill and they want to turn that around. Let me play a commercial for that. And then we'll get back to the topic today.
Are you tired of the dead bedroom? Wondering what happened to the passion, the connection, and the spark? Well, here's your answer. Introducing Get Her to Fuck You Again, a red pill guide to fix a dead bedroom, now on Amazon. This isn't about manipulation or tricks. It's about real strategies that work. If your wife has stopped being intimate with you, it's not because the love is gone. It's because the attraction is gone. And that's fixable. This book will teach you the skills to lead your marriage, rebuild your confidence, and become the man she can't stop thinking about. 3 reasons to get this book. 1. It breaks the cycle. You'll learn how to stop doing the same things that are killing her attraction and start doing the things that reignite it. 2. It's practical and proven. With clear, actionable steps, you'll build yourself into the man you were always meant to be. 3. It works for men like you. Paul Bauer has helped hundreds of men just like you fix their dead bedrooms. And now, it's your turn. Don't let another day go by feeling frustrated and disconnected. Go to Amazon right now and buy Get Her to Fuck You Again. Read it, apply it, and watch your marriage transform. The connection isn't gone forever. You just need the roadmap to get it back. And this book is it.
Yes, indeed. Hold on a second. I've got here, just want to show you this. Yeah, I dropped a link to it in the chat here, but forget that bitch. It's available for pre-order right now on Kindle edition. The link's in the chat for that. All right. Okay. All right. Cool. Oh man. I was working on that until about 9 p.m. last night. Nurse Chick will tell you about it. It's a lot of work. If you guys didn't know, it's a lot of work formatting books for Amazon. And then now the process of recording the audio book starts this week. So I'm hopefully I can get that done this week or at least into next week. That will be recorded. And then you guys will be able to get the audio book around the same time as the Kindle and paperback and hardcover and all that fun stuff. All right. Where are we at here? Let's talk about how most men fail the main event. Okay. Most men, they want to win her back, right? That's why they get this book in the first place, right? They're like, fuck, I've been fucking up for a long time. She's not fucking me anymore. How do I win my wife back? I want her to desire me again, right? So they get this book. They want to win her back. The thing is that if that's your goal and that's the frame you're operating in, you're actually operating in her frame, and it tends to make you soft. Okay. It makes you soft and weak. And then when the main event happens, you're going to crumble. You're going to crumble under the pressure. Okay. They're going to mistake her emotional breakdown as a need for comfort. And it's not. It's not a need for comfort. This is where most guys will fall back on nice guy behavior, right? Women, this is how women manipulate men. And women know this, right? Women, I mean, they are more emotional than men are because they have a lot of estrogen in their body that tends to make their emotions fluctuate like the wind. But when they're having this main event, they're having an emotional storm and they are crying and they're bawling. And when a woman cries, men innately, it's our instinct to want to fix the baby maker, right? We cannot have an upset baby maker. We've got to fix the baby maker. Why is she crying right now? Oh shit. Right. So then you start, oh, I'm so sorry, babe. I didn't mean to do that. And right. And you start deering and all the stuff we tell you not to do. Okay. She's testing you for strength in this moment. You need to stay firm in this moment. You need to hold frame and stand your ground. Okay. Here's a Red Pill Archive post that talks about this. It's interesting because Ryan talks about the main event, and I was literally I was combing for like an hour through the Red Pill Archive looking for an example of a guy's main event. And it's like Ryan says, like, if you think you're having a main event, you're probably not. So a lot of these guys are like, I had my main event the other day. And when they would describe it, the other guys in the group were like, that doesn't sound like a main event. That just sounds like an argument, right? Like that just sounds like your normal spat. That's not a main event, right? Or it was just a come to Jesus talk where the guy's like, look, fuck you, fuck me, or fuck you, right? Like it was one of those types of things. That's not necessarily the main event. The main event is when she comes to you because she is so distraught and so worried about losing you that she starts bawling and she's ugly crying, right? She's ugly crying. So the closest thing I found was this guy, TR Wolf. He writes about his main event, right? So he goes, my main event came this July. And I dropped a link to this in the chat if you guys want to read it. My main event came this July. I had been introducing red pill changes since around March. I had read No More Mr. Nice Guy a couple of years ago and laid a small foundation of boundaries at the time. But the major changes came after the rest of the red pill thought was introduced to me. In a casual conversation one afternoon, she threw down some bullshit request and I refused. Long story short, she hit the roof, left the house, dinner half cooked, kids hungry, et cetera, and moved her stuff into the guest room. And when she returned hours later, in hindsight, I probably could have avoided the fight if I had seen the comfort test underlying the BS request and responded to it instead of the request itself. Right? See, women are very subtle in their testing, right? And we think as men, we think that the actual request is what she wants, but in reality, there's some subtext there where she's testing you and she wants you to respond a different way, right? So he's like, if I would have responded to the test and not the request, it would have been a different story. That said, her action went completely nuclear, and it seems that this had been brewing for a while. And that's the thing, right? Her hamster wheel's going out of fucking control, and she doesn't know what to do with it anymore. And this is like a last resort type thing, right? A woman's last resort is to revert to direct communication. That's their last resort. That's not natural to them, right? So I figured she was poking the bear, looking for a fight. And if I got that one right, it was just a matter of time before this blew up over some other irrelevant topic. She was just about to get her period, not a coincidence. If you guys ever read the Married Man's Sex Life Primer by Athol K, he strongly recommends keeping track of your girl's cycle. He calls it ovulation game, but it helps prepare for shit like this. And you don't bring it up either, right? Like if she's having an emotional outburst, you don't say, what are you on your period? Or I know you're on your period, right? Because that negates her feelings in the matter and that pisses her off more. Like you just don't do that. You just keep that shit to yourself and just be more understanding that week, right? Anyway, I digress. She was just about to get her period, not a coincidence, and I was already preparing myself for one of our typical tough weeks. For 3 days, she went rolling in the bat guano, which, right, she's batshit crazy. Completely off the deep end. I held frame as best I could. I probably talked with her too much, and I let my frustration show a couple of times, but I held the line that I would not be ordered around and I would not tolerate her emotional outbursts. Mind you, when I said she was crazy, I'm not exaggerating. She accused me of everything she could think of, no matter how cruel or detached from reality. Some good examples include accusing me of conspiring with her mother to take away the kids, having a girlfriend on the side, not responding to her so that I could work with a lawyer on divorce papers. Obviously, none of these were true. She even tried to shame me for letting her stay in the guest room, knowing that she had more stuff and that I was being controlling for not offering to switch with her. Dark days. After around 3 days, she calmed down and said she'd like to discuss what was bothering her. We set up a time after the kids were asleep. She calmly laid out her concerns, dealing with the changes that had taken place. She felt that I wasn't being empathetic enough and that she felt powerless because I held all the cards. I make the money, and when push comes to shove, she knows I'll be fine on my own. See, that's a big thing, right? Women think they hold the cards because they have the sex card. Right? So a lot of women will lord that sex card over you, and they will take control of the relationship if you let them do it. But the real cards, especially if she's a stay-at-home mom and she doesn't work, like, you have the cards, bro. You have the cards, right? You have the cards. And when you stop letting yourself be taken for granted, that's when she starts realizing, oh shit, he knows he has the cards. Right? Anyway, since then, after months of contemplation, I boiled her concerns down to the following. She was pissed about the loss of her comfortable marriage to a guy that just gave up, did everything she asked, and asked nothing in return. There was the big dread that she realized she might lose me, right? Once she was able to calm down, she started to realize that the hamster was way out of line, and she was embarrassed by it. At the time, I just tried to reassure her that my main commitment still resides with the family, not her specifically, but always with the kids first. I'll tell you what. Here's the thing. A lot of guys don't realize this. A lot of guys don't think about this. A lot of couples don't think about this. A lot of women don't think about this. They put the kids first in the relationship. You as the man, you need to put yourself first. Okay. Mental point of origin. Then after that comes your commanding officer. She's next. Okay. She's next in the totem pole. Like, you first, her next. And then you together. Okay. You guys showing a healthy, loving relationship is the best thing you can do for your kids. But you can't put your kids first. Right? Putting your kids first will ruin your fucking relationship. Okay. But if you guys are a unit, right? Captain, executive officer, a tightly operating unit, the kids will sort themselves out. Okay. But they need to see that you guys have have cohesion. You guys are good at working together. All right. But most people, they don't do that. Modern age, it's the kids first. And what tends to happen is the relationship dies because you put the kids first. Stop doing that shit. Okay. So anyway, he says not her specifically, but the kids first. I don't agree with that. Anyway, and that I have come to realize that I have not been getting from the marriage what I needed. When she brought up that I seem like I'd be happier by myself, I didn't refute it. While I was kind and supportive of her feelings, delivered calmly, I didn't want to let her off the hook, apologize profusely for her sadness, or give her any indication that things were going back to the way they were before. I also told her that her emotional outburst was completely unacceptable, no matter how upset she was, but that she was always welcome to bring concerns to me in a respectful manner. Right? So Ryan also talks about this in Dread. And if you guys haven't gotten Ryan's book, Dread, get Ryan's book on Dread. Okay. But especially if you're working on your marriage and you want like all the tools in your toolbox, like my book and Ryan's book together, excellent compendium. Right. But yeah, Ryan talks about this. Like when you have this main event, like it's good to have a come to Jesus type talk with her, you know, like, hey, look, I'm not happy in this fucking relationship. This is my vision for the relationship. You either get on board or you fucking don't, right? But I'm going this way. And, you know, if I find out, like, if you're just not the right woman for me, all right, fine. Like, I've accepted that already, you know? Anyway, once she felt heard, it took a few hours. And that's where Luca comes in. You can read more about Luca in my book. Something I learned from Paul Benjamin, but the Luca model of communication will help a woman feel heard and understood. And when a woman feels heard and understood, that's when the legs open. All right. Something incredible happened. I gave her a hug and a kiss on the forehead, a powerful paternal gesture, I might add in passing. And she buried herself in my arms. It was very loving and submissive, and I was a little shocked. Things were never the same after this. At this point, I felt it was appropriate to invite her back to the bedroom. Once we finally made it to bed, she came over and snuggled into me and started escalating. It had always confused me how women will do this right after a fight. But now, with my red pill perspective, it makes perfect sense. This is why I often say that spiking a woman's emotions, even if it's negative, it's actually a positive. Like, women need some kind of emotional stimulation. Like, they are operating on dopamine, and even a fight, right? Even a good argument is better than apathy. You know what I mean? Like, positive and laughing and having a good time is way better. But if you could get a massive fight, like, women love that makeup sex, that passive or that passionate knockdown, drag out fucking makeup sex because you're hate fucking her. They fucking love that shit. Anyway, we had enthusiastic sex that night and the next morning before work, and continued to have sex almost every day for the next 3 weeks. The time frame is not coincidence. This had never happened. Not when we first started dating, not during our honeymoon, never. She later admitted to me that despite being pissed, she was also incredibly turned on by my dominant stance during our Cold War, right? Women are security-seeking creatures that respond to strength. So if you're passive and you're trying to make her happy and you're trying to fucking walk on eggshells so that she doesn't get upset, that actually kills attraction. But if you are not shaken during her emotional storm, that turns her on, okay? It's because you're showing your strength, right? Anyways, the 3-week afterglow. So things were great for 3 weeks. The mood around the house was a lot more positive. We worked well together and we had much more fun around each other. It was easy to get complacent. Things are going great. She got it. She was going out of her way to make me happy, and it was a huge difference. It's important at this stage to keep two things in mind. This won't last forever, and she will go back to her old ways when she gets comfortable again. Stay vigilant. Remember, she hasn't changed. She's still like that. She's just in a little attraction bubble. This is the big thing that guys fail with, right? They get to a place where they're getting a positive reaction from their wife, and they're like, oh, okay, this shit's working. I guess I can stop now. The work never stops. Okay. The work never stops. When you get to this positive reaction, keep doing the shit that got you there. Secretly, she was recollecting her strength and started to pick out the little issues that she would use against me. There is still some fear, uncertainty, and doubt about this new way of things around the house, and she will test it. Since things were going so well, I let little things go. She gave me an occasional order instead of a request. She'd start throwing little tantrums about the kids or things that need to get done around the house. I would just ignore them instead of more proactive responses to nip them in the bud. In fact, I'm still struggling with this. None of them escalated, so I didn't think anything of it. The backlash, okay? But then Aunt Flo comes knocking again. The frustration with the kids and house chores come back. Then the moods, then the cramps, headaches, and before you know it, the box of tampons are on the counter. In my case, things were still in pretty good shape going into the cycle. She changed quickly as she became more uncomfortable and frustrated. She got back into the mode of avoiding or defending my advances. She became noticeably less playful, and since we stopped having sex for a few days, the attraction momentum trailed off. Almost overnight, we seemed to go right back to our old ways. My natural reaction was to get discouraged, give up, and resign myself to the conclusion that this was just the way it was going to be. I lost my incentive to make it work and turned my attention to just living my life while minimizing the wreckage of my home life. The true rebuild. Let's see here. Yes, this is the last section I want to read. Stop this. Okay. The true rebuild. Once this cleared, months of a long, slow slog through the crap have passed now. The difference was that we had hit a tipping point. And she now knew the new world order, and her only choice was to be on board or move on. Things are improving slowly. She's starting to truly internalize that I am a new man. That is good for her. That is good for her. That she actually prefers her new role and is more comfortable there. She, of course, unconsciously tests me and will throw unbelievable crap at me to see how or if I react. And this is why the work never stops, right? Because the more women see that you're changing, the more they want to test you to make sure this is the real you. And until like you've consistently been passing these fitness and comfort tests for a long time, you know, until she truly believes this new you is the new you, she's going to test you more, right? If you want to reduce that, I recommend reading this sort of thing in private. Don't tell her you're working on this stuff. Just like, don't talk about it, just be about it. Because if she knows you're working on this stuff, she's going to not believe it even more and test you even more, right? It's better to do a sort of a sneak attack on that sort of thing. Let's see here. Here's what most men, okay, so the point. Main event is about holding frame, not negotiating or comforting, okay? Also, the work never stops. And here's what most men don't realize. Winning the main event isn't the end. It's not happily ever after. It's just the start of the real game. Because the moment you slip, lose focus, or soften back into comfort, she's going to test you, right? She'll look for cracks. And if you fail the follow through, everything you rebuilt will crumble. And the next time she won't give you another shot, right? So coming up, I'll show you exactly how to lock in that victory and make sure you never face another main event again, because she'll know deep down that she can't replace you. Okay. Before we get into that though, guys, get in Beer Club. Beer.comeonmanpod.com. This Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern time is our monthly hangout, the May hangout. Go to beer.comeonmanpod.com. Get in there. I know you think you're a lone wolf, okay? But lone wolves starve in the winter, okay? Wolf packs thrive, right? We are building a community. We have over 50 guys in there. They're all leveling up. They're in various areas of their life. They're in dead bedrooms that they're turning around. There's guys that are post-divorce that are back on the dating circuit again, that are swapping notes about what works and what doesn't, right? We have guys in there that are losing tons of weight. We have 2 guys that are fixing major health issues just by how much weight they've lost. It's phenomenal to watch these guys putting the work. Get in there, okay? Iron sharpens iron. Beer.comeonmanpod.com. Let me play a commercial for that since we have our hangout this Thursday, and then we'll wrap up with the last segment.
Here's a harsh truth that everybody gets upset about online when I say it. They get upset because of their ego investment into the fairy tale idea of love and partnership. They get upset because of their ego investment into the idea that their woman is their best friend, their confidant, and they think that love will conquer all, and that their woman will be there through thick and thin. The truth is that as a man, your woman is hardwired biologically and psychologically to want you to be her rock. It doesn't work the other way around. Women do not care about your struggles as a man. They may think they care. They may even want to care, but her evolutionary DNA will not let her care. If you bring her your problems, she will lose attraction for you over time, and she will leave. Now, whenever I talk about this, people lose their minds and start talking about men unaliving themselves. The faster that men learn that women don't care about our struggles, the faster we'll save the lives of men. Men off themselves because of their own ego investments in the Disney fairy tale lie. And when that fairy tale goes up in flames, they get zeroed out and they end things. Men do need a proper outlet for dealing with their problems, but going to their woman isn't the answer. Men need a tribe. They need a brotherhood. That's why I created my beer club. It's a monthly virtual hangout for men only. It's a place where men can be men. It's a place where men can talk about guy stuff without having to worry about offending women. It's a place where they can go without having to worry about being called toxically masculine. It's a place where they can go to solve their problems. Because men solve problems, women cause problems, you dig? Visit beer.comeonmanpod.com. That's beer.comeonmanpod.com to sign up.
Yes, indeed. And then, guys, if you want to work with me directly, you can go to call.fixdeadbedrooms.com and book an appointment with me. But I'm going to make sure that you read the book first. All right. I'm not, if I have to convince you to work with me by selling you on what I'm all about, like we're wasting each other's time. Okay. Get the book, start applying it. You'll know what I'm about. You'll know my shit works. But if you need help with it, that's what that's for. Okay. Where are we at? Where are we at here? Put this up here. Let's see. We have a 23. Oh my God, a 23.99 euro super chat. Appreciate all the value you give us. Oh man, I'm glad you like it. If you guys didn't know too, Beer Club, I gave them a private pod class on Saturday. So I'm going to be doing that monthly now too. You know, just whatever topic the Beer Club guys want me to go over. We were talking about building wealth on Saturday, and a lot of guys were like, holy crap. There's a lot of information in there. Yeah, I've been studying this shit for a long time, man. Let me play let me give you the shaking Tata video because that's going to demonetize me, but the $23.99 makes up for it.
Thank you for the super chats. Movies bouncing, can't stop that. From the east to the west, viewers, you are the best. Keep those chats coming in, let's do it all again.
Hell yeah. Guys, if you don't want to send a super chat, smashing that like button's free. All right, let's talk about the solution. Navigating the main event like a leader. All right. So here's the thing. How do you handle the main event? Well, how would you handle any argument with your girl? Right? Think of it like that. Don't overthink this stuff, because one of the things that Ryan points out in Dread is that like if you're looking for the main event, you're still operating under a covert contract, and every little spat is probably not a main event, right? Like you're going to know when it happens because it's going to be like ugly crying and a fucking knockdown, drag out fight. Okay. But how you handle every interaction with your wife is how you handle everything. Right. So you're going to want to hold frame, be assertive, stand your ground. Right. And there's different tools for that. Right. There's different tools for that. We have, agree and amplify. We have indifference. We have fogging. We have negative assertion, negative inquiry. There's all sorts of ways to not get dragged into her emotional roller coaster. And that's really where you need to be. Just like any other argument or whatever with your wife, you have to be a rock. Okay. And if you get into your emotions and she's able to, get you up in your feels and you start yelling and fucking smashing shit and whatever, you failed. You fucking failed the test. Okay. And most guys don't realize how reactive they are because they have no mental frame. So you have to work on your mental frame or you're going to fail this. Right? That's why I have Frame Fridays. That's why it's so important. A lot of guys think like the frame and mindset stuff is boring. They want to learn about how to get more pussy and shit. Right. But it's like the frame stuff is so important because it's going to fix everything, including getting more pussy, bro. You want to validate indirectly, okay? Acknowledge that this sucks, but don't change your stance, right? You basically acknowledge her feelings in the moment. That's kind of where fogging is helpful. Fogging is basically like an agree without the amplify. It's like agree with indifference. So when she gets all pissed off and she's upset, you're like, yeah, I can see why you would be upset by that, right? But you're not taking ownership for it. You're not apologizing for it. You're just acknowledging her feelings. So I would say fogging and Luca would be really helpful here, right? Luca stands for listen, understand, clarity, action. It's a communication model. Again, I talk about it quite a bit in Get Her to Fuck You Again, if you really want to understand how that works. But it's really about validating her feelings without apologizing for it, okay? You don't need to own her emotions, right? There's nothing for you to apologize for. You need to remain calm and as detached as possible. Like I often say men need to be lovingly detached in their relationship. And the reason why I say that is because if you allow yourself to be led by your emotions, which most men are, because we're the ones that are the idealistic lovers. Like we sort of have this, she's my soulmate fantasy more than women do. Women tend to operate more opportunistically. Like even Dottie, here in the chat was talking about how she doesn't like brokies, right? Brokies give her the ick because women are opportunistic, right? They need a guy that, you know, has a little cha-ching, you know what I mean? So anyway, you need to be lovingly detached so that you can keep an eye on your girl's attraction level, right? A women's attraction level is on a scale of like 1 to 10 or 0 to 10, right? And any attraction below a 5, you're cooked. Like there's no winning that back. If her attraction level goes below a 5, you're fucked, right? So the goal is to always try to keep her attraction level at a 9 or a 10 if possible, but it's not always going to be there. And you need to sort of keep an eye on it and be able to navigate things more strategically. And you can only do that if you're sort of looking at the relationship like a third party observer, right? And you can only do that by staying lovingly detached a little bit. All right. Then you can set the tone and lead the relationship better. All right. And when she's blowing up and snot bubbles, like any other argument, don't be offering solutions to her emotional storm. Right? Don't be offering solutions. Okay. Don't try to fix it. Don't try to offer comfort. Just listen to her and just try to understand where she's coming from. Right? Get clarity. Right? That's where Luca comes in. And let her fall apart, bro. Just let her fucking lose it. She needs to get those emotions out, right? This is her processing the new reality of the situation, which is she can no longer walk all over you and take advantage of you anymore, right? You're saying the tone, you're leading, you're now the captain of the ship. Like, look at me. I'm the captain now, right? That's that's what you're conveying, okay? So this isn't something that you fixed. This is something that you wanted. This is why you did this, right? There's no fixing it. It's already fixed. Like if you got to this point, right? It's smooth sailing from here as long as she recognizes and wants to be on board. Like she wants to be on board your ship. It's good from here. Okay. You just have to keep doing what you're doing, right? Don't fall into complacency, right? So this isn't something you fix. This is how women process things for themselves. They verbalize their emotions and then they, you know, try to think about how those, what she's saying, you know, the words coming out of her mouth, how does that make her feel? That's how women process through things, right? So there's nothing for you to fix. And you definitely don't want to reward the desperation with validation, okay? So a big mistake that men make here is they soften the blow and try to ease the tension. Don't do that, all right? You've been applying dread for a reason. All right. She hasn't been fucking you. She's been taking you for granted for years. You're turning this around. This is what you wanted. Okay. It might be uncomfortable in the moment, but you can handle it. All right. You've handled everything up until now. You can handle this. You needed her to stop taking you for granted. Okay. So this is her coming to the realization that she's been taking you for granted for so long that she might lose you. Let her feel that. Let her process that. Okay. So what happens next? Well, she either gets on board or she doesn't, right? So if she recalibrates and she submits to your frame, that's a win, right? That's a win. Save the marriage, save the family, keep things together, avoid tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands in divorce costs, right? Avoid 7 years of pain and suffering and agony, right? It's a win. If she doesn't get on board, that's clarity, right? And now you choose how you're going to proceed. One of the things that I talk about and Get Her to Fuck You Again, I also talk about it with my one-on-one clients, right? Because one of the things that I'll tell guys is like, look, I will help you turn your marriage around, or at the very least, I'll make sure you never have to fucking deal with this again. Right? You'll become the kind of man that women want to cheat with, not the kind of guy that she wants to cheat on after this. Okay. Your current wife might not get on board. Okay. But you're going to level up and be the kind of guy that another woman's going to appreciate. And you're going to end up in a situation where you have hot, passionate, steamy, toe curling sex It just might not be with your wife. Okay. Because you're going to level up so much that you're going to realize, fuck, she's just not getting on board. Okay. She gets a vote too. Some women are fucking lazy. Some women have their own mental issues. Okay. You probably had a Captain Save-A-Ho mentality when you met her. Okay. She's just not getting on board. That's clarity now. Okay. A lot of people need to operate in certainty. Well, now here's your certainty. All right. She's not getting on board. It's clarity. That's still a win. Okay. She's telling you everything you need to know. And now you can be more, now you can be more proactive instead of reactive, right? You can go and start talking to an attorney and start planning out how you want the divorce to go. Most men don't do this. Most men just sort of wait and see what happens. And then they get a brick dropped in their lap and now they're on the defensive and they get fucked over in divorce court. All right. You take the offensive here and start planning this process out, how you want to see things, and help and have your lawyer basically like tell your lawyer, this is what I want. Because most lawyers operate with a boilerplate. Say, no, forget the boilerplate. This is what I want. How do I get there under the law? Right. Because there's some things you're not going to get. You're right. Like in the state of Colorado, for instance, we have a formula, right? We have a maintenance formula. So if your wife makes less than you and she wants alimony, she's getting it. She's getting it. Your only recourse is to negotiate that down, right? That's it, right? If she wants it, she's getting it. It's fucked up, right? Anyway, so you got clarity. Right? That's way better than conclusion, or way better than confusion, rather. Now, guys, I want you to realize this, okay? This is heavy stuff. This is heavy stuff. The main event's nothing to be taken lightly. All right. And in the moment, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. Women are good at manipulating men with emotion and crying and shit, right? It's going to be hard, right? Just hearing it and listening to it on the podcast is not going to make you ready. Okay. This takes serious internal work, serious reconditioning, serious rebuilding of your mental frame. Okay. And that's why I wrote, Get Her to Fuck You Again. All right. This is your foundation before you can even think about handling a main event. Right. And if you want my help applying this personally, that's why I offer the one-on-one coaching. All right. Because you got to face it. You got to face it. If you're in the main event and you're asking yourself, what do I say here? Right. If you're in the thick of it, and you're like, oh, fuck, what do I do now? Fuck. Right. What did the book say? It's already too late. It's already too late unless you're ready for it. All right. Read the book first. Right? Read the book first, start applying it, get the workbook, start doing the workbook. Okay. You'll start seeing results. You'll see that my stuff works. All right. And if you book a call and I have to convince you to work with me, you're just going to waste both of our times. Okay. So get the book first, do the workbook, and then let's work together. And then I can help you through this type of situation. All right. Because there's going to be a lot of little spats and fights and stuff like that. My more proactive clients, the guys that really take this shit seriously, they took advantage of the one-on-one texting, right? So in between weeks, we'd meet together once a week. I'd have them work on stuff, but in between, they had direct access to me. So like my more active clients would be like, hey, I ran into the snag. Like how should I have handled it? Right. Or do you think I handled this properly? Is there anything I could do better for next time? They were on it. Like they were in it to win it. Okay. And I'm right there. I'm like, yeah, man, this is how you handle that. Or you did good. Or, oh, you could have done this better next time. And then they apply it better next time. Okay. So then when the main event happens, they're prepared for that kind of shit. Right. All right. We'll end on this. Okay. You don't pass the main event by wanting her back. You pass it by being the man she realizes that she can't afford to lose. And standing your ground and holding frame. You got me? All right. Smash that like button. Smash that like button. Guys, that's all we have for this episode. Tune into the podcast on Wednesday. We're going to be talking about how rejection breeds obsession. All right. And how it's not that you really want your ex back, because Wednesdays are breakup Wednesdays now. In honor of the new book, Forget That Bitch. pre-order now on Kindle edition, right? If you are a guy who wasn't able to turn your relationship around and now you're going through a divorce, you're separated, you're gone through a breakup after a long-term relationship, and now you want to move forward and you fucking can't stop thinking about her, but you know you need to move forward, get my book, Forget That Bitch. You can pre-order it on Kindle now, but we're going to be talking about how rejection breeds obsession and how it's not that you really want your ex back. Your ego is it just took a beating. Your ego took a beating and you can't handle it. That's why you think you want her back and why you can't stop thinking about her, right? Rejection breeds obsession. We're going to talk about that on Wednesday. All right. I don't see any other super chats. So let's go ahead and just say, be sure, guys, to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thanks for everyone that sounded off in the chat. I appreciate you. Thanks to Brother Kamal for the very generous super chat. And follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Get my ebook, She's Made You Weak. You can get that. The link's in the description. It's the top link there. Guys, get all my books. I have... starting next month, I'm going to have 4 books, not including the 2 other workbooks. So if you include the workbooks, that's 6 books. Forget That Bitch has a workbook too. That's going to come out probably a week earlier because I have to get a QR code for I got to put a QR code in Forget That Bitch so that you can get the workbook along. It's a whole process. Anyway, the workbook's going to technically come out a week before, but all that stuff's going to be available. So if you're trying to get through a breakup, that's going to be your tools for that. If you guys are trying to fix your marriage, Get Her to Fuck You Again is going to be your tools for that. Get in Beer Club. Our hangout is Thursday night, 7 p.m. Men only. Sorry, Dottie. Not sorry. It's for men only. Men need a tribe. We need a brotherhood. Okay. You don't have to do any of this shit alone. All right. Get in Beer Club now. It's only $10 a month. And then, guys, if you want to work with me directly, book a call. Go to call.fixdeadbedrooms.com. That's all we have. We will see you guys on Wednesday.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.